Tobey Maguire is one of the most polarizing stars Hollywood ever made and quietly unmade. To some, he's Spider-Man, the blueprint, the gold standard, the first man to make us believe a teenage science nerd could swing through skyscrapers and kiss girls upside down in the rain. To others, he's a smug one-trick pony who got lucky in the early 2000s and disappeared just as fast as he rose. He's either the most underappreciated actor of his generation, or the smartest one for leaving it all behind. He's either greedy, cocky, washed up, or quietly collecting checks as a producer, while the internet argues about how weird he looked in Babylon. So which is it? Was Tobey Maguire just another teen actor who got lucky at the right time? Or was he a calculated chess player in an industry full of checkers? Was he pushed out of Spider-Man, or did he engineer the biggest paycheck superhero cinema had seen? And seriously, who was he seducing to stay in the suit? This is the story of a career that made no sense on paper, but left a cultural impact Hollywood can't seem to replicate. From failed sitcoms and deleted scenes to poker scandals and massive studio fallouts, this is the real Hollywood arc of Tobey Maguire. We'll trace how a kid who wanted to be a chef ended up shaping superhero cinema forever, how his friendship with Leonardo DiCaprio opened doors and nearly wrecked them, and how Tobey may have finessed Sony out of more money than any Spider-Man before or after him. You'll hear about the movie he tried to erase, the shady legal fights he ducked, and the role he almost lost to Jake Gyllenhaal because of back pain. Allegedly. This is the full picture of the rise, fall, retreat, and rebirth of Tobey Maguire. And it starts, like most Hollywood stories, with someone being underpaid, overlooked, and just stubborn enough to stick around anyway. This is Hollywood lore. Let's go! Before Tobey Maguire was Spider-Man, before he was the face of a billion-dollar franchise, he was the kid no one noticed on set. Literally. His early credits include blink-and-you-miss-it roles like standing in the background of The Wizard, 1989, uncredited, silent, invisible. Not exactly the origin story of a Hollywood giant. Tobey's childhood dream wasn't even acting. He wanted to be a chef, but his mom, convinced her son had star quality, offered him a bribe, $100 to take acting lessons. The bribe worked, and it's probably the best return on investment in entertainment history. In the early 90s, Tobey showed up in just about everything: TV shows, commercials, sitcoms nobody remembers. He was background noise in Walker, Texas Ranger, slinging burgers in McDonald's ads, and voicing characters in forgotten animated spots. His only major role was in a sitcom called Great Scott, which was so unpopular it got canceled almost immediately. Even TV execs couldn't find the channel it aired on. But then came Leo. Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire met at a casting call, both teenage actors fighting for scraps. They didn't just become friends, they formed a pack. The P******Y Posse, as the tabloids called them. A group of young Hollywood rebels tearing up clubs and parties with the self-confidence of future Oscar winners or future lawsuits. Leo landed the lead in this boy's life opposite Robert De Niro, and instead of flexing on his less famous buddy, he pulled some strings and got Tobey cast in a smaller role. That was the start of something big. Suddenly, Tobey wasn't just that guy from the background. He was in Leo's orbit, and that orbit had gravity. From there, Tobey's filmography started growing but slowly. Roles in critical darlings like The Ice Storm, Deconstructing Harry, and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas gave him indie clout, but not star power. Most of those films flopped commercially. But critics took notice. The directors did too. Still, Tobey couldn't catch a break at the box office. He'd get cast in a film like Empire Records, only to have his scenes cut entirely. And even when he starred in a project that should have been a slam dunk like Ride with the Devil, directed by Ang Lee, it bombed so hard it nearly disappeared. But here's the twist. It wasn't just luck that kept Tobey in the game. It was a decision. He chased projects that would get him respect before fame. And when Pleasantville landed in his lap, a film that pioneered digital color correction and gave him his first major lead, he stepped into the spotlight like he'd been waiting all along. The movie didn't explode at the box office, but it showcased Maguire's range. It was weird, emotional, visually stunning, and for once, he wasn't just the supporting guy in a moody indie film. He was the guy. And suddenly, the awkward kid with no comic book knowledge was about to be offered the biggest superhero franchise in the world. He just didn't know it yet. The early 2000s were a wild time in Hollywood where comic book movies were still recovering from the trauma of Batman and Robin, and no one knew if superheroes could actually make money long term. Then came X-Men in 2000, and the game changed. Suddenly, studios were desperate for their own costumed cash cow. Enter Spider-Man. Sony got the rights, Sam Raimi got the director's chair, and every hot young actor in Hollywood was considered for Peter Parker. Leonardo DiCaprio, Heath Ledger, Wes Bentley, even Freddie Prinze Jr. were all on the list. But when the casting process became chaotic, Raimi pitched an unexpected name, Tobey Maguire. The studio laughed. This wasn't your typical superhero lead. No jawline of steel, no six-pack, no square shoulders. Just a soft-spoken vegetarian who hadn't exactly headlined a blockbuster yet. But Maguire had a secret weapon, the cider house rules. Raimi had seen Tobey's performance and knew he could bring the emotional weight of Peter Parker, the trauma, the inner conflict, the moral backbone. And then Tobey did something that sealed the deal. He got jacked. Training for a role in Training Day, a role he didn't end up getting. Tobey had already bulked up. So when Sony questioned if he could look the part, he showed up flexing. Literally. And just like that, Peter Parker was cast. Then came the budget, $139 million. The expectations? Astronomical. The outcome? Historic. When Spider-Man hit theaters in 2002, it shattered records with a $114 million opening weekend, over $820 million worldwide. It was the first film to make $100 million in its first weekend. It wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural earthquake. Tobey Maguire became a household name overnight. He was suddenly the face of a new generation of superhero movies. But behind the scenes, things were already starting to get messy. Tobey was paid $4 million for the first Spider-Man, a decent sum but not reflective of how massive the movie became. So when Sony greenlit Spider-Man 2, Maguire asked for a raise. A big one. Reportedly, he wanted $20 million or he'd walk. The studio didn't blink. They called Jake Gyllenhaal. Gyllenhaal even started prepping for the role. Rumors swirled about Tobey's back injury from Seabiscuit, which conveniently surfaced right as negotiations hit a wall. Whether the injury was real or not, one thing's certain: Tobey suddenly got very cozy with the daughter of a Universal executive. Next thing you know, Maguire was back in the red and blue suit. Coincidence? Maybe. But Hollywood doesn't run on coincidence. It runs on leverage. He didn't get the $20 million, but he got $17, plus a percentage of the profits. And Spider-Man 2 crushed it again. Another $780 million. Another cultural moment. Another kiss in the rain. Another wave of memes. And Tobey was solidified not just as Peter Parker, but as a power player in Hollywood. And here's the part people forget. He used that power. Tobey started producing films. Investing. Making money behind the scenes while everyone focused on his face. And as he prepped for Spider-Man 3, his paycheck came in at a cool $15 million plus back-end points. But that third film? That was where everything cracked. The studio forced Raimi to shove Venom into the plot. Multiple villains, bloated runtime, clashing visions. Raimi called it the worst experience of his career. Critics panned it. Fans were split. But the box office? Nearly $900 million. Tobey made his money. A lot of it. And just like that, he started fading from the spotlight. Not fired. Not cancelled. Just slipping out the back door with his earnings and a poker face no one could read. He'd played the game. And for the moment, he'd won. After Spider-Man 3, everyone expected Tobey Maguire to keep swinging. A fourth film was already being outlined. Director Sam Raimi had plans for Vulture, Black Cat, even John Malkovich was rumored. But things were already cracking. Sony wanted Spider-Man 4 in 3D. They wanted a new tone, a tighter schedule, more merchandising potential. Raimi couldn't make it work. He walked. And when he left, the studio didn't blink, they hit reset. Just like that, the Tobey era was over. No dramatic send-off. No press conference. Just a reboot with Andrew Garfield and a much smaller paycheck, $500,000 for his first film. Tobey had made nearly $150 million across his Spider-Man trilogy. Garfield made 1% of that. And Tobey? He disappeared. Kind of. Not from Hollywood. Just from acting. Behind the scenes, he was building something else, a poker empire. While studios debated who'd play the next Peter Parker, Tobey was sitting at private games with Leonardo DiCaprio, Ben Affleck, Wall Street brokers, tech CEOs, and pro athletes, playing cards for millions. The woman who ran those games? Molly Bloom. Yeah, the one Jessica Chastain played in Molly's game. In her memoir, Bloom described Maguire as the best and worst player in the room. Razor sharp, ruthless, and kind of a jerk. According to her, he once offered her $1,000 to bark like a dog at the table. He won pots with psychological warfare, dominated rooms, and made millions. Allegedly, Tobey earned more from poker than from Spider-Man. He wasn't acting. He was investing, producing, gambling, and if you believe the stories, burning bridges with the same ease he used to spin webs. And when he did return to acting, it was small, quiet. A cameo in Tropic Thunder, ironically playing a closeted priest opposite Robert Downey Jr. in a fake trailer. One of the best moments in the movie, and he almost didn't do it. Only agreed after Downey promised it'd be worth it. In 2009, he took on Brothers, a dramatic role opposite Jake Gyllenhaal, the guy who almost replaced him. Critics liked it. He even got a Golden Globe nomination. But the movie barely cracked $40 million. Then came The Great Gatsby in 2013. Back with Leo again. playing the narrator while DiCaprio took the spotlight. It was a hit over $350 million at the box office. But Tobey wasn't leading. He was supporting. And maybe that was intentional. Because after Gatsby, Maguire stepped off screen entirely. No public meltdown. No scandal. Just silence. He started a production company, Material Pictures. Got behind films like The Fifth Wave, Nobody, Pawn Sacrifice. Some flopped. Some didn't. But none brought him back to stardom. Then in 2021, a multiverse opened. Spider-Man, No Way Home. And suddenly, the internet exploded with rumors. Tobey was back. Not recast. Not replaced. Back. And when the film dropped, he didn't just show up, he stole scenes. Fans wept. Cheered. The theater turned into a Comic-Con panel the second he stepped through that portal. He only had 30 minutes of screen time. But it was enough. Reports say he made $1 million. Same as Andrew Garfield. No more. No less. A poetic end, or maybe a pause. Because Tobey Maguire never really left. He just moved the game behind the curtain. From A-list star to behind-the-scenes boss. From Peter Parker to poker prince. Was he arrogant? Maybe. Smart? Definitely. Still underestimated? Every day. And if he wanted to come back full force, he probably could. But right now, he's not chasing the spotlight. He's betting on himself. And if there's one thing Tobey Maguire knows how to do, it's fold early, cash out high, and walk away while everyone else is still figuring out the rules. Tobey Maguire's story isn't a Hollywood tragedy. It's a chess match. And if you've been paying attention, you know he's always 3 moves ahead. From the outside, it looks like a disappearing act. Big franchise, big fame, then poof, gone. But behind the scenes, Tobey was never gone. He just stopped playing by the rules everyone else follows. While actors chased roles, he chased control. Producing, investing, owning stakes in projects, playing high-stakes poker like it was just another business meeting. And yeah, sometimes being a little too smug about it. He wasn't trying to be beloved. He was trying to win. And ironically, that might be why so many do love him now. He's the Spider-Man people grew up with. The guy who didn't need a six-pack or a British accent to sell emotion. His Peter Parker cried, struggled, danced awkwardly in a black suit, sure, but also showed heart in a way few superhero performances ever have. And when he came back in No Way Home, it wasn't just fan service. It was closure. For him. For us. Tobey's Spider-Man was always about quiet choices. He didn't need to punch harder. He just had to do the right thing even if it cost him. And that's kind of Tobey in real life too. He made millions. He helped friends. Burned some bridges. Made some enemies. Lost roles. Gained leverage. And somehow still walked away respected, or at least unbothered. He's 50 now. Not chasing headlines. Not clinging to relevancy. And yet, he could still walk into a Marvel meeting tomorrow and say, let's do Spider-Man 4, and the internet would shut down. Because love him or hate him, Tobey Maguire left a mark. Not just in superhero cinema, but on what it means to leave the spotlight without losing the game. He didn't fizzle out. He just stopped playing loud. He's still producing. Still winning. Still a wild card. And maybe, just maybe, he's still your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.